You're tuned into news across the galaxy where they talk all things LA Galaxy with the Nag Boys. Let's start nagging.
What a ball for Ricky Peach.
News across the galaxy. Keep on nagging, guys. Your six-time MLS Cup champion, LA Galaxy.
And your sixth time. It's still gives me chills. Welcome to News Across the Galaxy, where we talk all things LA Galaxy. I am one of your hosts, Bryant Lois, and tonight I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Edgar Zuniga and Edward Campos. How are you guys doing tonight?
I don't know, man. I'm at a loss for words at this point. And you know me, I'm trying to be always optimistic. But Eddie, Eddie and I did a thing on Wednesday. That
Oh,
was
sorry,
fun,
you
right,
talking to me?
Eddie?
There was a ringing in my ear.
How dare you? I mean, gotta ring in the new year, right?
I mean, since we're all talking about it. Anyway, Eddie, how you doing tonight, sir?
All right. I think my mind is already in the desert, so
All right.
I'm ready to give this team a break for a weekend.
Well, Edgar just mentioned about you guys having a little adventure on Wednesday. How was you guys' adventure? What you guys do?
Well, I'm a big metal guy, and I Eddie had never been to a metal show until a couple of years ago. I took him to see Static X, which is a really good intro band, I guess, if you've never been into metal. But then this past Wednesday, I took him to see
The
Meshuggah,
Chuga.
which is one of the most respected, most powerful metal bands in the world. And to me, I call him the final boss. But why hear it from me when you can hear it from Eddie from an outsider's perspective? Eddie, what did you think, man? Because we
So
we saw Carcass, Cannibal Corpse, which I'm like, what the hell? And then of course Meshuggah.
yeah, one of my favorite songs from the Corpse, whatever, was that blanking blood.
I shoot blood. No, I shoot blood from my blank.
You could fill in the rest.
Right, and then he's all like, he goes, it used to be fun until it actually starts happening to you, and then it's not fun anymore.
All right, everybody listening, Google that song. Let us know.
What's the name of the band?
Cannibal Corpse.
Google Cannibal Corpse, Blood
We
on
were
My whatever.
and then we were joking like, what does that mean? Is it the corpse of a cannibal, or is it the corpse of something the cannibal ate? I don't know. But we were there. I mean, I was there to see Meshuggah. I dragged Eddie with me. Eddie, what
Well,
did you think?
you didn't do much dragging. One thing we do have to point out before we get to the actual concert is the events that took before, the events that happened before the concert. Edgar is terrible at Connect Four.
How dare you?
Am I
How
wrong?
dare you?
Am
Is
I
he
wrong?
Well, I mean, to be in my defense, for the first three, I was on the
Here
other
we go.
side, which
Uh-huh.
I'm looking down at him, right?
Uh-huh.
And then I went switch to the other side, and I was a lot better, wasn't I?
Wait, did you win?
No, but I was in a rush to get to my seats anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right, excuses.
No, it was really dope. I'm a big music fan, more live music than anything. Like anybody that knows me, I'll talk about like my experiences, like seeing someone like Beyonce and being one of the best fucking shows I've ever seen. And you'll never hear me bumping in my car. Me like enjoying like Peso Pluma so much last year, but I'll never bump that in my car, you know? So live music is just a whole different thing. So when I get to experience something new and is with somebody like Edgar, who's a big fan and could give me this whole backstory and then I get to make Edgar feel young again. It's pretty dope. It's a really dope experience. What was really cool was one, it was like a mix, right? It was a mix, and it's not a joke to Edgar. There was like older people there than Edgar there, but it was a mix of like older people and young people, like the kids that like listen to older music, and like by us, it was very mixed. Wouldn't you say, Edgar? Like I think there was like a father son next to us.
Yeah, there was. I remember we saw him earlier, and I was joking around like, "Hey, it looks like one of my friend's dads or something." And then later on, they sat next to us, and I was like, "Well."
Yeah, and one thing about me is like whenever I go see like rock or any kind of band, my eyes always like automatically gravitate to the drummers. So that shit is like super dope, dude. Like these guys lose their fucking mind, especially like in this music. Like, man, how do those arms not fall off? You know, like Mr. Potato Head after going wild like that. And the cool thing about this particular band, aside from the music, like it's a spectacle. Like they have like their live shows are very like rave esque, you know, which is a trip. So if you ever seen Mushuga live, me Edgar could tell you more. Yeah, their show isn't like your typical rock show. There's like lasers and all that. So
Freaking lasers.
so that's
Hey,
cool.
hey, how big was that mosh pit, dude?
Yeah, that mosh pit was dope. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I seen the video that you had sent about the mosh pit. I'm like, damn, I would not survive in that because we had went to a Blink 182 concert and I got into the mosh pit there and it was nice in comparison to the one that you sent.
Yeah, Blink isn't a real mosh pit, but that's yeah,
More like
The-
ring around the rosy, pocket
yeah.
yeah,
posy.
Even then, Brian got manhandled.
I did.
Oh, you got Brian handled.
Hell yeah! Some dude just picked me up. Come on, little guy, and just took me around the mosh. I was like, all right, fuck
Oh.
it. Why? The only time I've actually seen like a metal band live was at WrestleMania. I don't know if you guys remember after the
Oh
show,
yeah,
there was that van that pulled up and they had their little show
yeah.
right in the parking lot. And
Hemorrhage.
yeah, and they were awesome. They were pretty good. So
Yep.
I could
These
only
guys.
imagine inside the venue how cool that was.
Hemorrhage.
Sweet. And Nala's get her in there. Get her in there.
My poor dog.
Nala, get in there.
Give the camera to someone else, Chewy, so I can get poor Nala in here. She got in. Never mind.
There it is. So
Smart.
now we got to talk about our LA Galaxy. But before we talk about last
Do we
night's
do?
match, yeah, we do. This is why we do this show.
Oh,
But before we do, there was a disappointing loss before this weekend. The LA Galaxy went to Monterrey, Mexico to face Tigres in the second leg of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. The LA Galaxy and Tigres tied in their first match at Dignity Health Sports Park at 0-0. Did you guys have, before the game even started, did you guys have any hope that the LA Galaxy was going to come out with a win in that match?
none.
Just one of
I
those
had the
things where-
guys from Tigres here, and remember we talked about it,
Yeah.
and I said I expect us to lose respectably 2-1, and then Eddie was just like, "I hope we keep it respectable."
Yeah,
And
honestly, like a team like Tigres, you respect, right, with everything they've done in Mexico in like recent history. So, and then Galaxy's record away. I mean, at Indianos, right? We lost to Indianos away. So
Yeah.
in my head, it was like, yeah, like keep it respectable. You know, I can respect the Galaxy going down with the fight, you know, in a place like Tigres. So that's kind of where just I was, but I always get that way, like we're definitely not gonna win when I'm trying to convince myself how the fuck did we win. I'm like, oh, but if we score early, so I'm drawing all these scenarios, so I knew in my heart I was like, nah, there's no way.
And then speaking of scoring early, the Tigres went up 2-0 right away before 15 minutes. It was like a 6-minute span where he scored 2 goals right before the 10th minute mark. And from there on, I didn't think we were going to have any type of fight back. I thought, man, these guys are just going to run over us. I didn't even think it was possible for a comeback.
That first goal, Vanny kind of upset me because he said like he doesn't mind like good goals or whatever, but I will admit it was a great fucking pass, and you know it was spot on right in between two big guys, right? That
Yeah.
couldn't put a better pass. But my complaint on that goal is if you look back, is Peck on his defensive duty. He's very very just like casual and like just allows whoever to play. I think Lainez to get that cross.
Yeah, I mean, Tigres had their full squad, though. The LA Galaxy went in there injured. There was no Yoshida. Wait, Yoshida did play
No,
that game.
Maya
No,
Yoshida.
No.
no Yoshida, and of course the main guy missing, Ricky Puig, wasn't there. And even though going down early 2-0, the LA Galaxy still showed fight. The game ended at 3-2. Going to your guys' point, keep it respectable. I think that was a pretty respectable score. Don't you guys think, Edgar? How'd you see that game?
Well, I just want to say that going into this game, we had heard from the guys from La U Times, the Tigre podcast we had on, that Tigres was going through a very not tumultuous time, but kind of like a not a good time. They were trying to adjust to a new manager, and so there were a lot of things happening with them. And oh, sorry, my son is here again.
Ezra.
And so, And so, hello.
I have
So,
one piece of number 8.
okay, yes, you do. and
Oh, he's
so,
gonna share.
and so they mentioned that they were going through a rough time, and we've been hearing that a lot. We heard it from RSL, we heard it from Orlando, we heard it from all these different teams that they're going through a rough time, and then they play LA Galaxy, and all of a sudden, things are looking up for them.
Yeah.
So I was like, please don't let it be like that with Tigres. But um, yeah, Galaxy didn't do themselves any favors either. So pass it back to you, Eddie.
Um, I mean, I don't know if it's fair to say, right? I had my expectation, the whole at least keep it respectable. But then after seeing the game and the way it went down, and the way the team gave away, especially that second goal, it was there. It was there, and it then it feels disappointing. And I don't know if that's kind of harsh and if it's fair to say because of my mentality going in, but I absolutely feel like the opportunity was there, and yeah, the Galaxy just came up short. It would have been great to see us go get our asses handed to by Cruz Azul next, but I don't know. What do you guys think? You think it's fair to say that, like, after seeing the game and the way it went down and what it has brought and the way we give it up, do you guys think it's fair to say like it ended up being a little disappointing?
I can't give you that. I gotta show the LA Galaxy some love in this one. I think I tweeted a tweet
You
and
can show you can show them love, but you can still you can feel
I
disappointed. Like
mean disappointed, yes, because
it
we didn't
was,
win.
but it was there.
Yeah, it was an accessible game. And thinking back to how if Ricky Puig would have been healthy, I think we would have advanced in that match. But I think the LA Galaxy in that situation should hold their heads high because it was honorable. It was an honorable effort. You went into a hostile place like Monterrey, Mexico, with those fans. The LA Galaxy is not used to that, and so to still try to go out there in the second half and fight back and claw back and still score 2 goals, I think for me it was a great effort, and we can't be mad at that. I mean, they had to start the kids to play in this match. What else can you ask from these guys? They're not fully healthy, and so with that being said, I think they should probably go for Leagues Cup. I'm down to see the LA Galaxy
Mm,
back in Champions League,
Nah,
and
never.
if you win Leagues Cup, you get into the Champions League, and on top of that, next year you probably be fully healthy. You probably have a better roster according to whatever changes happens during the summer. Why not? This now I want this tournament to actually matter for the LA Galaxy instead of just
Yeah.
putting
I
in the
think
kids.
I think you lost me and Edgar on that one.
Hey, I want to see them back in the champions. It's not like we're gonna win the title this year again, or are we? Edgar just left us, but it's okay.
Oh, fucking Edgar. Damn it.
But yeah,
No, I don't know. I think we all share the same thing. I even think Chewy feels the same way. Like Leagues Cup, fuck the Leagues Cup. So, yeah, I don't care. I want them to crash out of that shit, dude. Honestly, play the kids. You
play the
know,
kids. Fuck
give
it.
them minutes. Let Sanabria and fucking Nascimento start every game in that tournament. Yeah.
All
So
right. Well, the other Galaxy didn't advance in case you guys didn't know.
spoiler.
Anyway, some injury reports before we get into this
There it
match.
is.
Hi,
sorry
Edgar.
about that.
Oh well, I don't know if you heard me saying that the other Galaxy should go for Leagues Cup. Is that why you left? Because
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's we're at a really weird time right now with this club. I would say it's like uncharted waters because obviously it's getting to a point where moral victories really don't mean much, right? We keep hearing like, oh, they played well, they put up a good fight, and they lost, or they scratched to get a draw. But uh, I mean, you could lean back and say, well, we got that cup, and that cup feels good. Yeah, it'll feel good for a good portion of the season, but come August, September, and this team is still doing what it's doing now, people are going to be upset. And I know, we got guys that are coming back that hopefully when the team is healthy, they're going to be doing well. But there are no guarantees that The guys that when the guys that are hurt now are going to come back, that the guys you have now won't be hurt. So to have a
Yeah.
perfectly healthy, team, it's very difficult. I remember we talked about that last year, how important it was for people to stay healthy, especially during a playoff run. Um, but at this point, right now, losing to Tigres was disappointing, not unexpected, right? But disappointing nonetheless. And then you see them fight back and make it respectable. But in the end, they end up losing still. And the game that you felt at the end that was winnable, or at least it could have got a draw, and they just didn't. And you're just left wondering, like, what if, right? And
Yeah,
we're getting a dose of that every week now.
yeah.
And I keep
It's a
hearing from other podcasters that that I talk to saying like, "Oh, you guys will be okay. You guys will be fine." Up until this last game, with the tone changed. And I'll mention that later on.
yeah, yeah.
And
Well, before we get into that, go ahead, Eddie.
no, it's funny because just yeah, we'll get into it later. But met a couple cool dudes that sat right in front of us. And hopefully they're listening. Hopefully they're new listeners. I hoard out our show, but they asked me when they found out because I told them the stat Edgar about the rep. By the way, Edgar, you fucking jinxed us, dude. Stupid rep stat.
We've never lost with them. Well, we haven't lost with them technically.
Yeah, yes. But anyways, because and we'll get to that rev later. Anyways, I brought that up. We was having this conversation with these guys. Like, damn, like that's a random ass stat. I'm like, oh yeah, we have a podcast. This guy does it. Anyways, point is, they asked me, is like, when should you start worrying? I was like, after today. I told them after today because this is not a good team, and we have only MLS to focus on now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, before we get into this game, I do have some injury updates. Marco Royce and Mauricio Cuevas will be available for Austin. As you guys,
What?
yeah, as you guys saw yesterday,
Marco
Sanabria
Royce.
is ready to play. I don't know if he's
is he?
ready, but yeah, he got some minutes yesterday, so he's back on the healthy side of things. And I think one of the biggest loss right now, Maya Yoshida. Um, it's a hamstring injury, and apparently it's more severe than they initially thought. So that's gonna sting a bit. Also, let me throw this out there. There was a tweet that I saw that Gio Reyna got the okay to look for a new team. Now, with all these injuries with the
Get
LA
another.
Galaxy, you guys want this injury prone guy to come to the LA Galaxy?
I'll go
How
first.
about we
You
switch
go
out
first.
one injury prone guy in Royce for another injury prone guy, but just younger in
Go
Reina?
ahead, Eddie.
Absolutely. If the price is right, obviously, if this guy can stay healthy, he's going to be one of the better players in the team. He obviously also has not obviously, but apparently he also has an attitude problem, right? So, I mean, I feel like someone like that really only knows Borussia Dortmund would be humbled by having to come to somewhere like MLS, which no disrespect to the league, but that's all he knows. And his
Yeah,
dad uh, played many years out in Europe too, so he probably feels the pressure that he wants to stay out there. So if you were to end up somewhere like this, and if you get a healthy Gio Reyna for like half a season or whatever, as long he's here, the kid is a baller.
yeah,
He's done it like in big games in Europe, Champions League and Bundesliga. So yeah, if it's a possibility, especially with the way things are going now, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Right? Okay, like this probably financially it would never happen, but if you could swap out Royce for Reina, like there isn't really a gamble there because if whatever Reina gets hurt, you're kind of in the same situation anyways,
yeah.
right?
Both damage goods, and
But
then
if
one is
he's
younger. Yeah,
yeah, if he's playing, he's younger, he's more physical, and the kid is gonna be more hungry, right? And
yep,
you're going to into a World Cup year, so
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it was just the name that I wanted to throw out there because I seen the
And,
tweet and I thought it'd be interesting
and I
to
like
bring it up.
and I'm a Gio Reyna fan.
Yeah,
That kid has something. Is just he's probably his own ego is probably getting in the way of his career.
yeah. Well, we'll see what happens with him, and we'll see what happens with the LA Galaxy moving forward, especially with not having all these healthy players.
Oh
What could
wait,
happen in the summer? What we
wait,
could bring
wait.
in? Go ahead.
Like we always do, just in case. Here's a soundbite. Gio Reyna officially joins the LA Galaxy. You heard it here first at News Across the Galaxy.
There
Now
it
we could forever say we said it first, just in case that happens.
is.
Here we go. Right?
All right. The LA Galaxy played last night in their 30th anniversary. It was ring night.
Was
The
it?
vibes were going. Well, we'll see. I know I was able to get mine. I don't know you guys were able to get yours. But before the match, what was going on? What's going on with Ringgate? What happened? Does anybody
Ringate.
have any stories of what went down? Because I was able to get mine easily. I know Eddie said he was able to get his pretty easy, but there was a whole commotion before the match where people were even chanting, "Where's my ring?" or "I want my ring," or
Where's my burrito?
yeah,
Where's my burrito?
which is
Uh,
it's a little chaotic, especially for the LA Galaxy. You should be a little bit more organized, don't you think?
yeah, we have a few people in the chat first off, so anybody on the chat, if you want to share your experiences, that'd be cool because we've heard different sides. Like I only have really one that I heard straight from the horse's mouth. That's pretty quick. Basically, this person was in line, and they closed the gates on them, and suddenly the cops got there, and the cops grabbed the rings and put them in the cop car and left.
Yep.
Yep, that's a real, and
It
I
happened
have the
in
pictures.
another location as well. So it wasn't the only one. I think it also happened because it happened to the people waiting at ACB. I think too, from what I understand.
Hmm.
Um, but there's a lot of stuff going on. There was a lot of stuff going on last night. There was obviously one of my friends that sits next to me. She was there with her niece, and she said that they're season ticket holders and they waited in line for more than an hour in the season ticket holder only line. And she said that people that were not season ticket holders kept cutting in, and when they got to the front, she noticed that nobody was checking to see if the people getting in were season ticket holders, or just they're just like herding them in. And she said by the time she got there, they had run out, and that everybody was upset. I heard that, like you said, like in some areas, like you said, they closed the gates on people. With in at least two locations, which if you know anything about the sport, if you know anything about the sport, and especially if you heard about what happened in Liverpool, you and in other parts of the world, one of the last things you want to do is close gates on a crowd trying to enter a stadium, especially when they're like really upset. Yeah, that's not a good idea.
Unless you want to be on a documentary.
God, I mean, it could have been so much worse, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Um, and then, of course, Eddie, I think you heard the story about the guy who bought 14 tickets, right, to try to get 14 rings. You heard
Yeah,
about that one, right?
So
And then
it's
they
been.
told him you only get one ring per person, right? And obviously he wanted all 14 rings, and they're like, "Sorry, man, no cigar."
We should actually address like how confusing a lot of it things were too. Like online, it didn't seem very clear. Like everything online, right? Even like my source, where it was like at first one per ticket, right? Like that's what I understood. And Chewy sent me his ticket, which I won't like really get into it, but I have my ways. Let's just leave it that way. And then I ended up getting. I had to basically scan that ticket twice to get his ticket, his ring. Um, but so that's one thing I had heard. So Chewy had sent it to me with all confidence, and then you see online it said that it'll be one per person, and then you start hearing about the gates opening, and one it says season ticket member entrance, and then another one that says all gates will fucking be open at this time, and then look for the signs with people. I don't know, dude. It was, I think from the beginning, I think it was the writing was on the wall. Like it was like this is gonna be bad
yeah.
because they couldn't even. I feel like they couldn't even get it together. Almost like if the Galaxy staff weren't communicating and they didn't know like, really how this was gonna happen, right? So, uh, oh look, we got a bot on there. Shout out to the bot on the chat.
Shout out
No,
to the bot in the chat.
I think it got blocked by everybody else. But anyways, um, I had something else to say, and I completely spaced out on it because I got that thought out first. Oh yeah, so here's just like one perspective, right? It's also kind of cool to see how much it matters to people, right? Because then you see like Dodgers, you see like Lakers, you see just those two teams, the only other two teams that matter in LA. They do promos. No, but jokes aside, like they're the teams that with the
Yeah,
biggest
yeah,
pools, right, for
yeah.
promos, and people go crazy, right? They line up hours before they fucking fight, you know. They
Yeah.
resell these items online, uh, you know, for whatever crazy amount of money, um, and it's kind of cool in a way. Maybe I'm saying that because I was able to get my ring, but to see that, right? To see that for the Galaxy as well. You know, the stadium was like packed early on, and I mean, I could put that perspective on it. I know there's a lot of people that are mad they didn't get theirs, and there's probably casuals, right, that
Mhm.
go just for the ring. But that's kind of the point too. So it was pretty dope. I thought that was pretty dope to see so many people lining up at every gate too. There's like pictures from every gate that were super packed. You know, so lit that the cops had to show up.
Yeah, and confiscate all the rings and put them in their
Right.
trunk so they can resell them themselves. Nah. What's a good solution for this? Because it was a very chaotic circumstance last night. A lot of people were upset that they didn't get their rings, and they probably made line early enough in order for them to get their rings. So what do you guys think could be a great solution for this? I had suggested in our group chat that maybe all season ticket members get their rings mailed to them, or at least get a voucher in their email so they can go pick it up. Um, but I don't know if that could be possible. What do you guys think?
You want to go first,
Well,
Edgar? Because
yeah. I mean, if you're a season ticket holder, I'm pretty sure that by now you should have already gotten your gift for the season, which was the nice little bottle, right? The what do you call it? I forgot the name of the company, but
Hydro Flask.
it's Hydro Flask bottle. Yeah, nice little thermal style bottle. And to get those, you got like a special ticket, right, on your season ticket account. You go to the tennis stadium or you go to your season ticket rep and you show them, they scan it, they give it to you.
Hmm.
And we got some cool stickers too. That was nice. But so I thought that was pretty cool. I think that would be a nice way of doing it. In fact, isn't that how they distributed the 2002 commemorative rings? If I recall correctly.
No,
Yeah,
they were
I think I had to go pick mine up or something
they
like
were
that. I
pins.
remember. What's
The ones
that?
that they gave us like that. They were pins,
Pins in the box.
pins in the
Yeah.
box, and that picture frame.
The rings they were doing them when they were signing players were there like there was two players per table and there was four tables in the different sides of the tennis court. And
Who
you
the hell
just
was
got
Mm,
in
that?
line. You would get in line and they would give you your ring while you were in line to get autographs.
Who's that? Jesus?
who said
Stupid.
that?
Stupid.
I mean, it is Passover, so I mean, maybe it is Jesus.
I mean, also on top of the mailing to the season ticket members, for the rest of the Galaxy fans, I mean, they do a raffle. You sign up for a
Mailing this
raffle.
beast, dude. This thing weighs like 5 pounds, man.
Yeah, it is. And then you make the raffle, and then you just choose at random so you could get to the 10K or whatever it is. But I guess the incentive was for more fans to come to the stadium, and I mean, it was packed. The stadium was pretty packed. It was just kind of a shit show. I'm looking at the chat. There's a lot of poachers that wanted to get in there to resell their shit,
Yeah,
and I mean, things like that are gonna happen. But I mean, the stadium was
look,
packed, so kind of mission accomplished, to be honest.
yeah, no, look, I'll play devil's advocate, right? So you have to understand, like, we're season ticket members, right? So we are like the dedicated fans, and yes, absolutely, I would love for me not to have to go early and then send my ring, right? And and I have to kill 2 hours. Take it for someone that doesn't fucking drink no more, doesn't eat at the stadium, doesn't waste money at the stadium, right? So me being in there 2 hours early is fucking pointless. So I I get the fact that they want to bring casual fans, right? To make 30,000 rings, especially like this. One thing I had brought up, if they wanted to make more, maybe bring the quality down, right? But I don't think people would be happy. It's hard to please everybody. I don't think people would be happy with that either. So the intention of like the 10,000 is to bring the casual fans out as well, to get the stadium packed early, have them experience the soccer fest and everything, right? In a way, it sounds fucked up, but those rings aren't meant for us. They aren't meant for people like us. Yes, we want them. Yes, we'll go early too, but they want our money. They want us to spend more money. So that's why they're not going to send them to us.
Yeah.
That's why they're not going to make it part of it. These giveaways will never be that way, I think, because there's a lot. From what I know, as we're very close to 10,000 season tickets, so it would be wasteful. There'd be nothing to give out if if they gave them to all season ticket members, and that's probably not including. There's definitely there for a fact rings they do hold aside to give to certain people and certain groups, right?
Hmm.
So what would be left, And then you lose this promo night, and then the Galaxy loses out on money. The thing is, you got to ask yourself, bro. We can be mad and everything, and the poacher world is the one we live in now. Unfortunately, I would say plan accordingly, knowing, but even plan accordingly didn't work out for a lot of people. So definitely 100% the Galaxy dropped the ball on this one. But you like nice things. You like the Galaxy winning. These kind of nights and these kind of turnouts are how they get their money, and this is how the Galaxy gets the money to spend on players and get us that six rings. So I get it. I get it that people are upset, and I get it from the business aspect of it too. Hopefully, the Galaxy gets it together. And you asked also earlier about a solution, right? Again, this is the world we live in, right? You have to figure out what's gonna work with poachers now and shit. To me, I'd make it like two designated gates, one or two. Start building barricades outside
Hmm.
so people can't fucking cut. Something like that. It's too chaotic to have it everywhere. It just is.
Yeah.
And I mean we'll see. And then you do it in two gates. Open those two gates earlier. Extra staff those two gates. That way shit doesn't happen. People don't get out of hand. Put most of your staff there, and then you can spread your staff out later. Galaxy, you want to pay me? There you go. That one's free. That's a free consultation. The rest, you got to pay for me. Pay for
Yeah.
it.
I
I think the one thing that shocks me the most is the way that they treated the supporters groups, the people that lined up like in the Lars entrance and the ACB entrance, especially when like I remember I went to ask early on, what time are you guys gonna open? They said the guy was like, we're supposed to open at 5:30, and he's like, don't worry. He goes, we have a lot of boxes set aside just for for this entrance, and I was like, okay. So I saw the box. It was like a lot of boxes, and I was like, okay, that should be more than enough for everybody that usually hangs out in the supporters areas. Um, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's like in the north side of the stadium. There's like these paddocks, I call them, right, where like the Lars hangs out, and then the other side is like a mix of ACB, Outlaws, Galaxians, and other groups. And it's a good place to hang out, tailgate, get some drinks, chat with people before you enter the stadium. And that's where I was. I went in with Tony, um, and we were kind of near the front. We didn't mind waiting there for like a good 30 minutes before we walked in, and I didn't have any issue, thankfully. But I had no idea of what was going on behind us, and then to hear about everything that happened later on, and the thing that gets me the most is the fact that they have police come and confiscate the boxes and take them away. Like, what the hell is this? That's such a bad look for the team, such a bad look for the stadium staff. Um, and it makes me wonder how if that has soured any relationships between the supporters and the stadium staff, because I know I heard some people saying we want Will Coons, right? And like Will Coons has nothing to do with this, right? What's he gonna do? Show up, and be like, hey, let everybody in.
yeah.
There's nothing Coons can do about it. That's out of his hands. He's just concerned with with the running the team, but as far as the players is concerned, So it's just something else. It's a whole different beast, man. And the fact that we're still talking about it goes to show you that we'd rather talk about this than the game itself,
Absolutely. You know what? The last thing. Where's the fucking podcaster rings?
Yeah.
right?
I seen some comments here. Project Galowski, what about a buying option, like buying one?
Just
Little
Galaxy
Apple
fans.
says even Nala wants a ring. That's why she's barking. Nefi, is that Ray? He says it was
Go
a
Ray,
marketing
go.
promo, not a season ticket giveaway. So I mean, it was to get you know casuals to come and watch the LA Galaxy, and I don't know for what because this LA Galaxy team is not good.
Even
Yeah,
more reason. Even more reason. You got to give people a reason to get excited.
yeah. The LA Galaxy did put out a statement. Corner of the Galaxy tweeted this one, and it says, "We always aim to distribute giveaways with the fan experience and employee safety in mind. It's never easy, and we haven't found a perfect process. We especially always want to do right by our season ticket members and try to prioritize their experience by opening the season ticket member gate 15 minutes early and delivering rings to our field-sided seats. Tonight we had to pull rings from two gates that went undistributed for the safety of our team members who were shaken by an overwhelming fan response. In the weeks ahead, we will be prioritizing our season ticket members to do right by those who were disappointed by the giveaway at tonight's match. We thank our fans for their patience and for helping us make future giveaways a safe and enjoyable experience as we continue to refine our distribution process." See, so season ticket members should get their their stuff first. Super chat, give us a little jingle, Chuyazo.
We should do the Peter Griffin laugh whenever we get these now.
Wait. I have something. I think. Hold on. Is it this one?
Oh my god.
From
Wait.
Israel, Izzy, longtime listener. Stadium security causes more problems than they solve.
I think in some cases that could be, you could say that, but there. I think it usually happens when you have newer people. So this is why I'm a little surprised because you would think that people signed to the supporters areas and to some of these season ticket member sections entrances are people that are familiar with the with fans that are coming into those areas. Um, but yeah, the occasions where I've heard that people have had issues with stadium security, not just for this past weekend, but in the past, is usually when there's newer people that aren't familiar with either the sport, with the culture of the sport, or with the supporters, or just the nature of the fans. So that's my take on that. Eddie, thoughts?
No. Yeah, I agree. But also, you have to think about how it's also preparation for this, right? This was different. They didn't prepare properly. And number two, security has nothing to do with the way people behave. I wasn't
Yeah,
there. I wasn't there, but I know from experiences when there's free things in the line and people they've been standing in line in the heat and they're just antsy and then they start to get frustrated. People can misbehave, right? And security has nothing to do with that. People get a little more difficult in these situations. So I try to look at both. I mean, these particular security, they're not cops, dude. They're not trained. They just people that go and no disrespect. Sorry if you work for CSC or whatever, but they go to a fucking like a 2 hour briefing, dude. And here's a yellow jacket. Good luck.
yeah. I seen somewhere earlier in the chat that a rep was getting chewed out pretty badly. So yeah, like you said, people sometimes misbehave when things like this happen.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
that's not necessary. Like that's not necessary. It's okay to be upset, but there's a lot of people there. So you're gonna like go chew out your rep for what? What are you gonna gain? That's gonna go like, oh, I'll be back. Let me go grab you a ring. No, it's just it was a shit show. They were not prepared. They put out a
Yeah,
statement. Supposedly they're gonna make right by it. Send your feedback. Reach out via email. But like making a scene and all that shit, that's the behavior that they don't. It says they were shook.
yeah,
yeah. I saw this earlier. By the way, think early in the LA Kings season, Bryant and I went to go catch a Kings game. Remember, Bryant?
Yeah.
And I remember I was telling you, hey, I guess there's a giveaway tonight. I, remember I told you they're giving away some this really nice fleece blanket or something. The Kings were. Now Brian didn't get there in time to get his blanket, but I remember I was there, and when I was waiting in line to get in, um, I didn't know that. I mean, at first I didn't know there was a giveaway. I just showed up. My friend had bought the tickets for me, and he couldn't go, so he gave them to me. So I was like, all right, cool. So I was in line, and they gave me this really nice fleece blanket. I was like, yeah, thank you. And I'm walking in my fleece blanket, and I turn around and look back, and there was a guy who had come to the front of the line, and they gave him a blanket, and then he handed it back to some people behind him, and then he grabbed another one and he started handing it to the back, and then finally the guy who was handing him out was like, hey, wait, I already gave you one. The guy's like, no, you haven't. And then all of a sudden, this massive security guy walks up. This guy looked like Brock Lesnar. He walked up. He's like, "I was watching you too," and he just grabbed the guy by the neck and dragged him in. He said, "You're not gonna get away with it." And the guy was like this, like a cholo dude. He was like, "Hey, you can't do it to me." I said, he just dragged him away, and I was like, I never saw that guy again. So I was like, "Oh my god!" It was like the episode of The Simpsons. Don't worry, folks. He's gonna be all right.
They're kicking his ass in the back.
Yeah. And I was like, and then you could hear his family be like, no, no se lo lleven. And I'm like, oh my God. So I was like, this is AEG, right? So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. It's the same family. Like,
All right.
yeah,
Well,
maybe.
let's
He
put
said,
a
you saw
bow on.
Brock Lesnar in your line. Be careful.
Let's put a ball on this, and yeah,
Yeah, let's
we'll
move
see what
on.
happens next time. Hopefully, they improve. All right. Well, let's go with the starting lineup for the LA Galaxy.
we killed almost an hour on that.
Yeah, well, because the LA Galaxy killed 2 hours for me watching them play yesterday. All right. At goal, John McCarthy. Your center back pairing, Emilio Garces and Zonka. Out left, John the Rock Nelson. Out right, Mickey Yamane. In the midfield, you got the trio of Edwin Cerillo, the return of Sanabria, and your captain for the night, Diego Fagundes. Out left, Jose Pinto. Out right, Gabriel Peck. And up top, Christian Ramirez. Before the match even started, I was in my seat. I was up in my mezzanine seat up in 232. And the LA Galaxy did a little highlight promo video of the first game of the LA Galaxy, which I thought was really, really cool. It showed them playing, who was it? The New York Metro Stars. They showed the goal of what's his name, Kobe
Yeah.
Jones. Kobe Jones. It was
What's
cool.
his
I thought
name?
the video was cool.
Yeah,
And
I was there, man. Can I do that one? Because
yeah,
I
yeah,
saw
yeah,
that video too. And for me, Eddie, you were there, right?
No, not the very first one.
Okay, well, I was there at the very first game, and I think I mentioned it before. Walking when I got the ticket, it took me and one of my roommates who ended up with one of my best friends ever. But anyway, I took him with me to the game. He had never been to a soccer game before, and so I was like, I told him like, you know, I don't know what to expect because at the time there was like social media wasn't really a thing. There was internet, but there wasn't like really social media. So we had no idea what kind of turnout there was going to be. From what I've seen before, like the week prior, it sounds a DC United match. They had a really good turnout there, but obviously that's a smaller stadium, right? Spartan Stadium. So driving up to the Rose Bowl, all of a sudden we got hit with crowds of Fair Oaks, and I was like, "What the heck?" We drive up Prosecco, and then there's like the parking lot is packed. There's all these people everywhere. The Galaxians are already there. And so we were like, let's get to our seats. We get to our seats, and before you know it, like that stadium is just absolutely like full, whatever sections they had set off. And as the game, even before the game started, people started showing up in droves, and it started like ripping up the sections that had been covered off, and and you knew it was going to fill up a lot. The celebration beforehand, there's a video floating around the internet, the one that the Galaxy used. You could, for a split second there, you could see the original Galaxy mascot, which was like a little
The
flaming guy
carrot.
or something, a little carrot, which looked like a ribbed something or other. And I'm not gonna say anything else. And that's just why that was the only appearance he had. But watching that little package last night and that goal Kobe scored, it never ever gets old. I still remember being at the stadium and just the roar from the crowd and the excitement, and then having Narash almost score the next goal. It was this beautiful memory, and I saw Kobe walking around the concourse before the match, and all these people were approaching him, and he was signing autographs, taking photos, hugging people, kissing babies, all that good stuff. Um, and I heard people overhearing. I heard people saying, "Oh, look, it's Kobe. Who is that? He's a Galaxy legend." And yeah, not just
Yeah,
Galaxy legend, MLS legend, U.S. soccer
yeah,
legend. He's
yep,
one of our own, man. And it was nice for them to commemorate not just him, not just the goal that he scored, right? First goal in Galaxy history, not just the first Galaxy game as well. But when you look at the North End, that beautiful tifo that they laid out for my boys, my beloved Galaxians, celebrating 30 years as well. Um, Shout out to all the Galaxians, past, present, and the younger ones that will be the future.
yes,
So it was
sir.
it was it was a lot of beautiful things going on before the game even started,
Yeah.
and that's the best part of the game, to be honest.
It really is. I'm not gonna lie. When they showed Kobe Jones was scoring that goal, I actually celebrated it. Like if I was watching it live, it was a cool moment. And then of course, I wanted to give a shout out to Arquitecto Verbal, who had one of his songs playing before the matches, and I was listening and I was like, wait a minute, this sounds familiar. And then I seen him post that they had actually played the song, and I was like, oh, that's a really cool moment. And then of course, I think one of my favorite moments before the match was when the Tifo went up. It was a happy anniversary 30th year for the Galaxians. The whole section of E Block was in green and yellow. And if you guys want to see the videos, I think the LA Galaxy posted them. Go to their Instagram, go to their maybe
Green and
TikTok.
gold, baby. Green and gold.
Yeah, and it I liked seeing that. It was a good shout out to them, the true OGs, one of the originals of not just the LA Galaxy but MLS, and it's those moments are cool, and I enjoy those type of nostalgic moments where I get to look back at those and think like, damn, in '96, my dad took me to Galaxy games, and they would give us free tickets in AYSO, and I was there for moments like those. So it's really cool to see all that tied into what's going on now. And I mean, we've been fans for 30 years, so that's a special moment for us for sure. Anyway, I guess we got to talk about this stupid ass
Yeah.
match.
But by the way, that mascot was made for her pleasure. Just saying. Oh, and also,
Absolutely.
hey, at first it was cool too, though. I know some people didn't like it, but they played one song and I had my DiCaprio moment. I was like, like I know that song. Yeah, so that was cool.
Yeah, it was cool before the match started, and then the match started. God damn it. What do you guys think about that first half?
We're just gonna do that.
Yeah, because this wasn't a match. Well, the first half was rough to watch, especially with the early red. I know in that goal. Well, the funny thing about that goal, the goal was scored, and I don't know what happened on the defense. There was a lot of miscommunication. Nobody marked anybody. It seemed like the Houston Dynamo was able to just kind of walk it in there, and they were able to get in back of the net. After that, Zonka grabs the ball and in frustration slams it to the floor, like kind of trying to tell his guys, "Wake up, let's do something." And then a few moments later, this man gets a red. Um,
No, before that though, we saw Carlos Mermiro Garces. He got a yellow, and
yeah,
which is very concerning because we've been hearing. Okay, there's two sides of him, right? There's the side where like he is a fantastic center back. He's tough and he's very difficult to get around. He's very speedy, and we love that aspect of him because when he joined the LA Galaxy, the only match that they lost was to Houston.
hmm
And then and during the whole end of the season and the run up, from the moment that guy started and was in the starting 11, they only lost that one game to Houston, and I was like at the death, right? So that's one thing that we all look at. But then you start hearing about Vanny's talking about like how he's complaining about him and how the things that he does. And yesterday I was paying really close attention to him. He does a lot of things that are very chippy. He'll like elbow players. He'll push them, shove them. Even when the player has the ball, I'm like, hey, take it easy, because he's like shoving the guy and like pushing him, and I'm like, that's the kind of stuff you do when the ref isn't looking, man.
Yeah.
And he was doing it like in the front of the ref, and I'm like, you're gonna get that second yellow, dude. Take it easy, calm down. Um, and then the ball, heads in that, in the direction of Zanka, and I mean, Houston goes on that counter, um, and Zanka, he brings his man down, and it wasn't even that hard of a tackle. It's just the guy just falls, right. He falls right outside Thankfully, he falls right at the edge of the 18, and but it was just the fact that he was the last guy back. Denial of a goal scoring opportunity, and damn,
Yeah.
gets the red. And this is when I tweeted out, Zanka has very quickly worn out his welcome with LA Galaxy fans, because at first we were like, he's doing okay. Um, we don't ever mention him, so that's a good thing, because as a defender. But he played really bad in the Champions Cup. He played really bad in some of the recent MLS matches, and this is just the cherry on top, man. This is the icing on the cake, and now he won't be there next week. So that means we're gonna have the Salvadoran King in there.
Let's
Um,
Hell
go
yeah, let's
King.
go, baby.
but the one thing that tripped me out, and I told Brian and I discussed this after the match, was that they dropped Cerrillo into that center back role, and I was like, they didn't think about subbing in Zabaleta. At one point, Zabaleta was warming up, and then I saw him run over to the bench, and Benny just told him to sit down, and he sat down, and that was it. I was like, oh my god, they never
Now,
brought him in.
Eddie says no.
Go for it, Eddie.
I'll bring in more concern. Um, so first off, you got to mention how easy that ball was for Zonka to clear it to the
Yeah.
sideline. Right? So that's a big concern too. Again, he's supposed to be this pro that's played in a World Cup, scored in a World Cup. He's a pro. Uh, so as far as Zabaleta though, I think there's well, you guys already know me. You guys know I like to read off the ball. I think he's injured. I think he's injured because everybody stayed warming up. He came by himself, and I was like, now they're gonna bring him in because I feel like the Galaxy settled in pretty well. Um, so I was kind of confused when I saw him walking towards there, and then like one of the trainers like says something to him, and he's kind of like, and then I started noticing he's kind of like limping, and he goes like that, and he goes and sits down. So I think he might be carrying an injury.
Oof. Oof. So,
Yay.
yay. Now we ran
Well,
out of center
Cerrillo's
back.
still better.
We ran out of center backs. And I mean, from that red, it's an uphill battle. I mentioned it yesterday when we did the little post game interview with Edgar. It's an uphill battle when you have 10 men on the field trying to get a result at home. And I mean, Serio didn't do bad at center back. It was just
Hold
that.
on though,
Yeah.
you guys wish you guys would have paid more attention though because I heard him mention Cerrillo. Him and Fagundes were doing like a switch back and forth. Fagundes was switching with Cerrillo. Maybe Cerrillo was there a lot of the time, but Fagundes was doing a lot of defending too, and he actually did really, really, really well. If you go back and watch that game, Fagundes did a lot of good things back there too.
You know who we haven't mentioned that did anything? Sanabria. And that's kind of concerning too. Having to come back after a broken collarbone. Did you see anything positive in his game, Edgar?
Well, first of all, I was surprised that he came back so quickly. Like,
Yeah.
because a broken collarbone, well, I mean, I guess it depends on the severity, but a broken collarbone is still a broken collarbone. You're going to carry that bump for the rest of your life, right? Um, but I know he was in the bench against Tigres, and then I was surprised that he actually got the start. I figured they might ease him in back into the lineup or back into the game by having him come in as a second half sub. But no, he was there at the very beginning, so that was interesting. I thought that was kind of odd, but aside from moving the ball from here to there, it kind of reminded me of what I used to say about Sebastian Lletget, where like he's just there to fill a roster spot. He's not really doing anything spectacular at that moment. He's just there. He's just there.
Yeah.
And so uh, that's disappointing. But then again, you got to think of like this guy came in was with a with a nice warm reception. People were he had some expectations of him, especially because Club Nacional of Uruguay was, you know, was has had him in such high regard. But we haven't seen anything, not even in the preseason. It's just the hope in the preseason was that he'll get acclimated to the system, but he never got that opportunity. But now he's been practicing and practicing and practicing, and then he comes in and has absolutely no impact on the game, and
Yeah,
that's disappointing.
it's coming off an injury. You can't expect him to be at 100% right away. But I mean, the I think the important part in this situation is that he's back with the LA Galaxy. He's back in training, and hopefully he'll get match fit sooner than later, because his team is really going to need somebody in that midfield to give us something. Here's some stats from the first half, though. The Houston Dynamo had 51% of possession to our 49. They had 4 shots on goal to our 1. Pass success rate evenly at 88. And tackles, we had more tackles, 6 to their 4. 1-0 at the half. 10 men
Just
on the pitch. I didn't have any hope for any comeback, to be honest. It was one of those moments where I kind of wanted to check out already. And yeah, 1-0 at the half. Were you excited, Eddie?
no, I was mad at Edgar because the stupid ref thing. You know, I gotta talk about that ref too.
Damn
Yes,
it!
you
We
did
gotta make
mention that.
better.
You did mention that before the game, before we got on live. Go ahead. The
No, I
floor
just
is
think
yours.
the ref was really bad. I think he was
Yeah, he
very
was.
he picked who and where he wanted to call the fouls for, and almost like he took things personal. Uh, and yeah, that's definitely a big part. I mean, the Zonka was a red card, right? But law of the game, that's a red.
Yeah.
But yeah, Edgar, next time that happens, just start moving your mouth. That way, it's not just someone just staring at you. It looks all weird. Yeah. Um, but no, you definitely have to mention that. Obviously, we've seen teams come back with a man down. But I think the way the game was going with the ref, I didn't feel excited. I'm like, fuck, this is just gonna get worse before it gets better. But I was wrong.
Yeah, my I had two thoughts at the half. One was like we still haven't seen this team be a good second half team this season, like it was last season, which was a big defining factor of their success. Right, they would go down, and despite the odds, they would find a way to get back into games, either drawing at the death or like managing to flip things around and win matches. But we haven't seen that this season. So one of my concerns was like, is this it? Is this the time when they do something? But being a man down, you're already putting yourself at such a, in such an odd. You throw yourself into this corner. Um, and this is when I started getting messages from my buddies, from other podcasts, and like I said, thank you, Atlanta guys, the guys from Scarves and Spikes. They, they always ask. They have a Monday show which they talk about MLS, and they always ask, hey, are the LA Galaxy in trouble? And usually they're like, they're gonna they're gonna turn things around. They'll be okay. And this time, yeah, they didn't say that. And in fact, our buddy Mike from the Orlando podcast messaged me, hey, Edgar, I think the Galaxy might be cooked. Sorry, man. So our buddies, are starting to lose faith in the Galaxy, right? And that's them from an outsider's perspective.
Yeah.
But once we once we start talking about the second half, I'll tell you guys the message I got from Colin from the Houston pod, because this shit's hilarious. Anyway, go on.
Shout out to Colin Toro that did the midweek with us. What the half? There was a sub. Lucas Sanabria came out for Isaiah Parente, and it was a whole different team in that second half. It looked like the LA Galaxy looked a little bit not energized, but they looked like they wanted to take their chances with the 10 players they had on the field, and they did their best with what they could. At the 57th minute, we saw a banger of a goal by a MLS veteran. Shout out to Fagundes, uh, 400th game, and another, what is it, number 16 with 150 contributions in MLS.
Hey, Brian, but
Yeah.
but, but tell the story about how
So
that led up to that, because you and I, me and Tony ran into each other right at the half,
yeah,
and you guys were like, "Oh, we're going to our seats in the second terrace on the east side of the stadium," and I was like, "Yeah, I'll go hang out with you guys for a bit because
Yeah.
I usually sit on on the opposite end of the field on the west side, and so I was like, I'll go chill with you guys for a bit." So we're kind of chilling there, chit chatting, watching the match, and then we see the foul, right? And
Yeah.
then what happened, Brian? Walk us through
So
that.
we seen the players set up the ball. It was Peck and Fagundes. And we were just eager for something to happen because the LA Galaxy has been a total train wreck this whole season. And, we just wanted to see something special. Tony gets up. He's like, hey, bro, this is going to be a banger. And I said, banger? He said, yeah, banger. Surely enough, Diego Fagundes steps up to kick that ball. Banger. Banger on banger. Bangers only, please. What a golazo. Uh, to tie the game, equalize the game, 10 men down. I mean, 10 men down. One man down with 10 players on the field.
10 men down. Damn.
Well, it could have been. Could have been. That ref was being whack. And
Yeah.
yeah, he scored a beautiful goal. And to add on to the 150 contributions that he's had in MLS, this man is a traveled seasoned vet in MLS. And we got to give him more props for what what he has done in his career, one, and what he's been able to give the LA Galaxy in his later years of being a pro. It was nice. It was a great goal. Can't complain about that.
Yeah, and it came at a time where I felt the Galaxy needed to do something. Like right before, Tony mentioned he's gonna score, he's gonna score a goal. I then I told you guys we need a goal right now. We absolutely need a goal, right? Right, Brian?
Yeah.
We need a goal.
Yeah, we did need to
Um,
go. Where were you
so
sitting, Eddie, for that goal?
yeah, man.
I was in the 110, 111 section. I got a good look at it. That was a banger. Yeah, it was definitely a banger. I think I was kind of just like already demoralized. So, that woke me up, got pumped. And it's funny because post game of Vanny says this is the first free kick they score since he's been here, and Guti reminds me that no, that's not true. Douglas Costa scored a free kick, which goes to show you that even Vanny's trying to forget what Douglas Costa was what, it was good, what Douglas Costa was to this team. But yeah, no, it was. I guess if we're gonna take a point, right, at least give us something to get excited about. Like I said,
Yeah.
And then shout out to Fagundes because I was already thinking like, oh, the Fagundes curse because also we've lost the last two games since he won the captain's ban.
Well, at least we didn't lose this one.
Yeah.
Is this? Did you guys see that there was a possibility to maybe even score a second goal, even though we were a man down?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, there was that play where Peck got free, and he went one on one with the
Oh
goalkeeper,
yeah,
and I felt that he waited a little too long. He let the goalkeeper come in um and block off all his angles, because if you ever play goalkeeper, one of the things they tell you to do is like to run up so you could limit the angles. And I don't know what was going through Peck's mind at that point of the game. Yeah, you're tired, right? You're a man down, so you're doing a little bit extra, and I felt that that was the shot. That was it. If Galaxy was going to steal this game, that would have been it. But it didn't. It didn't go that way. It ended up being a corner kick. I remember.
I don't know if
Uh,
we're thinking of the same one, but there was another one where it was a 2-on-1 and Paintel played Peck and it looked like Peck was just stuck on first gear. He was looking for the penalty or something.
yeah, it was that one. That's the one
was it that
I
one?
think he's talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah, he should have done better. But yeah, for me too, is the second half. It seemed like the LA Galaxy had a little bit more bite. To me, the substitution of Parente coming in gave him a little bit more energy. It seemed like he was firing on all cylinders, and he's looked pretty solid with him having to start because of injuries. So that's kind of a nice thing to have as in your squad. Vanny, you know, gave the young man the nod. He's giving him his trust, and he's been performing to his best of his abilities, and it's been working somewhat. Not this time around because we didn't get the win, but kudos to him. Shout out to Isaiah Parente for that one.
Tucker Lepley also came in and did some. He did okay too. Nothing noteworthy, but it didn't hurt the team as well. I felt like that they kind of they could have done a little bit better at the end. But especially the last 5 minutes. Oh my god! Remember we talked about it last night. I felt like the last 5 minutes they were like, we're a man down. We got a point. Let's just kind of sit on the ball. And I noticed that because John McCarthy was taking sweet time restarting the ball on goal kicks,
Mhm.
and it was kind of disappointing to see that because I felt that they had Houston on the ropes.
Yeah.
And but then again, they had Houston on the ropes. Something stupid happens. Houston goes on a counter, and there goes that point. So
Or
um,
or McCarthy fumbles the ball.
yeah, right. But just to get, so let's okay. Let me. I want to share this because this is funny, right? So the game ends.
Yeah.
Um, and real quick, guys, just share your thoughts, right?
Okay.
Eddie, how did you feel?
After the game?
Yeah, like the game, like the whistle. It's the 90th minute. Oh, by the way, 3 minutes. That was not enough, man.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
I remember like as they're going up, I was thinking to myself, I used to say it out loud to some people near me. I was like, it's got to be 5 or 6 minutes. And I said it jokingly. I was like, if this ref really wants to be a dick, he's gonna give only 3 minutes. And then 3 minutes comes up. I was like, what a dick.
So it's your fault again, huh? The whole fucking ref and everything.
Hey, the check didn't go through, man. I'm sorry. Okay.
Uh,
um.
go
Yeah.
ahead.
But go ahead, Eddie. Your thoughts? Whistle blows. The players collapse in the field. They're all like, whatever.
I
What's going through your
felt
mind?
I felt frustrated. I felt really frustrated actually because uh, it's great that they are able to put up the fight they did in that second half, but then it goes to like fuck, this isn't Vanny's fault, right? I'm thinking like you guys can fucking play like this. Why does it take like a good kick in the ass to fucking wake up, right? When we had 11 players in the first half, we weren't playing that well. We played better in the second half with the 10 men that we had. So this game was for the taking even with 10 players. So the fact that these fools are I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on in the locker room, but it's they're able to win these games, dude. Like how many more times are we going to be here talking about like, oh, they didn't play so bad, but this mistake and this and that, Zonka, da, da. Like, dude, the more of it. So I became like just more frustrated with the team, if anything. Also, I'll stir the pot a little bit
Mm.
because I like watching Off the Ball. And if I ever leave NAG, I'm gonna start my own podcast called Off the Ball. So look out for that. Uh, so there was a collision between Garces and a Houston player in the box, and fucking bitch ass McCarthy went and picked up the other player first.
Ooh.
I saw
Yeah,
that too.
I call
I
I
saw
called
that.
him I called
It
him a
made me
bitch ass.
wonder. And then the Houston player turned around and helped pick up Garces, and then John McCarthy came over to help up Garces.
Yeah, think about like in a Sunday league, bro. If you and somebody else go down, and this fool helps the other guy instead first. That's kind of like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's a little. No, I didn't catch that, but yeah, that's a little off-putting. For me, it was just the fact that they were able to earn that point that I'm somewhat satisfied. Of course, the LA Galaxy is not a good team this season at all, and I'm a broken record, injuries, right? But at least this is the first point in Dignity Hill Sports Park this season. I chalk that up as a win. This
No,
team is still depleted with
you
injuries, and
you
we don't have a
wait.
full squad.
I'm gonna cut you right. You take that as a win. That's a terrible Houston team, bro. You're taking that as a win.
Hey, a point is a point. It could have gone worse. We could have lost at home.
Well, let me put things into perspective for you guys, because the reason I asked you guys for your thoughts is because I want to share the thoughts of our buddy Colin Toro from the Keeping Tabs Houston Pod.
Go
This is
ahead.
what he shared with me, and not just me. He shared this with like their entire MLS fan media group that I'm part of. Right? He said in all caps, "This team is effing pitiful, playing scared for the entire match. Up a man, unbelievable. One win in 8 matches. This is a last place team. It's sickening having to watch this Houston team, this shambolic Houston team every week." And that was from him. And then our good buddy from Saz from San Jose pod, put a little the little meme with Homer saying "Welcome to join the club," and so did the Montreal guy. So there you go. Um, so if this is from him, right? We just stole points from them, right? And he's talking about how horrible his team looks. This does not feel like a win.
There
This
you
just
go.
felt like a very disappointing draw. And this is let me wrap this up so we can go into other stuff. But I was trying to even before the red card, I was looking at the Galaxy and I was like, okay, they got Peck, they got Painter back, Sanabria in the middle, Fagundes is there. This is as close to like a starting lineup that we're gonna get strong as far as the midfield and the attack. I know there's people missing in the back, but still, this is as good as we're gonna get for the attack, right? And what I saw was something that there's no shape, there's no real direction. It's very strange, and it got worse after the red card. But like last season when Puig went down, we saw Fagundes and Brugman and Delgado, not Delgado, yeah, Mark Delgado all come together and Cerrillo and form this midfield that was pretty dynamic, right? They were able to distribute the ball out to the wings and get the ball to Jovic. But what we're seeing now, it's there's like nothing really there. It's like it doesn't. You can't even. I can't even tell you what it is because it has no shape. There's like it's like amorphous. I don't even know what the hell to call it. Uh, do you guys see the same thing, or is it just me, or am I nitpicking?
No, no, you're right. They're lost. That's it. They're
Yeah.
lost, and like I'm telling you, it's something. Then at halftime, something clicks. They get a kick in the ass, and all of a sudden, it's flowing again. So
Well, we're paying the price for winning the title in a rebuild year. Now we're going through the hardships right now, and it sucks to see because a champion after winning a title, now you're this bad. It's kind of sad to see. But and there's this meme that you had sent on the chat, Eddie. I don't know who sent it of Bart standing up with the LA Galaxy jersey, and then a bunch
I
of
was spending sent it.
oh
Yeah.
Spenny sent it. I thought it was hilarious to be honest. And you have the rest of his classmates with other jerseys on, pointing at him, laughing at him, and that was all sad. I thought that shit's
That
hilarious to be honest.
that who put that out was Bleacher Report. Bleacher
Bleacher
Report
Report.
football. They was to put it, and it said like LA Galaxy is the first team in MLS history to no the first MLS former MLS champion in MLS history to go the first 8 games winless, and it has all the teams pointing at him and laughing.
Let's go,
Uh,
baby. Setting records, baby. Let's go.
and this, so then in response, I took that and retweeted, right, and I put out like that a little meme. Also, it's a South Park meme, and I put like, should we start to worry?
Yeah.
Because we've been told all along, I've been saying all along, once people start coming back, things will fall into place and we'll be okay, right?
Yeah.
And getting
Hopefully.
Puig back will be the biggest missing puzzle piece, right? Puzzle piece right there, name drop. No, that'd be the biggest piece that the puzzle is missing. And man, right now they do not look good. And I know maybe a week later, with another added practice, maybe things will look better because Austin looks like shit right now. They got their teeth kicked in Canada. But we every week we've been seeing these terrible teams go up against the Galaxy and they get points. So
Well, let's hope they don't. I know when before the season started, we did a cross pod with the guys at Cuna Galaxiana, and Eddie had mentioned that it was going to be a frustrating start of the season, and this is exactly what has played out. And well,
not this
goddamn,
bad.
I
There's
didn't think it was
game
going to be this bad either.
No,
But
because at this point they should have won at least a couple matches that I can think of. They should have won this one, and they should have. God, I think they should have beat St. Louis. But
yeah,
damn, these are games in which they played. That St. Louis when they played really good, they should have beat Orlando, and they lost. I mean, they lost that one too. So God, it's just
yeah, it's been a rough year for the
I,
LA Galaxy.
the good thing is that MLS being MLS, there's always that chance, right, that they could get back into a playoff spot. But then you look at it right now. We have 3 points, right, and what eighth, ninth place is like what 9, 12 points, maybe. I think I just I can't remember right now, but yeah, it's definitely gonna be a battle because you know those teams aren't gonna just suddenly stop winning games either.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, let's get into some awards. We'll start off with the game itself.
awards?
Yeah, it should be pretty simple, unanimously, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Zanka gets the game off award.
Yeah.
No. Before that, there has to be a BJ for everything that happened for the game with the rings.
Bad job, LA
Eddie,
Galaxy, man.
since from all the stories that we heard, who do you think deserves it, the mother of all BJs for what happened on Saturday? Because we
Listen,
have to be the voice of the voiceless, man.
you heard it. You heard the people. It's Will Kuntz's fault.
Ah, poor Will Coons.
It's a sheriff's
No,
fault.
but just this is one of those rare occasions where like the entire Galaxy organization has to take a big L, man.
Hopefully, they do better. So, game is off award, of course. I think is going to be unanimous, Zanka. But who do you guys have as your honorable mention? The You've Got Hartman Award. And before you
Wait,
guys
that's
give me
it?
that,
We're just gonna let him off with a little slap on the wrist?
Zanka. Oh, you want to
No,
go off of him? Go off
let's
of him.
lay into them. Come
Lay
on,
into him. Lay
I'll
into
let
him.
Eddie go first because Eddie's not even thinking about it right now. He's just like, what?
I mean, what else is there to say, right? We're giving credit to this guy. He's a good addition to the team. We don't understand what the hate was in the comments when he left. You know, it was hard to find any like good luck like comment. It was like good riddance. You know, you suck. There it is. There it is. It's right there. Right now we've seen it like I think it's like 3 weeks in a row, and that kind of mistake to me is not a mistake a veteran like that makes. He made two fucking dire mistakes in a matter of seconds. So what else can you say? He we were already losing, but he put his team in a worse position they already were in, and yeah, I mean, I got nothing else for him. It's just I think now we're just seeing his true colors, and now I get it. Now I get why people were not really well. We're excited. I should say we're excited for him to leave.
There's
But
something that
I
Brian
think it
and
was
I
on purpose. We're gonna see him in Coachella next week.
and I hope people heard you, Chewy. Did they? Otherwise, they're gonna be wondering why we're laughing. um,
Lay into him,
but wait,
Edgar.
there was something that Brian and I actually me Brian and Tony we brought up when we were hanging out is that Zonka seems to be a completely different player than when he was lined up alongside Yoshida. Remember we discussed that,
Yeah.
and it seems like he has absolutely no connection or chemistry at all with Garces. And we've discussed it so many times. And if you play, football, center back, you know how important it is to have that relationship with your fellow center back and the goalkeeper. And I don't know if it's because issues with Garces himself, where we Eddie mentioned the fact that McCarthy doesn't seem to cool with him. Could it be the fact that Zanka doesn't really have a connection with him as well? There's also the whole language barrier, but these are things that you work on, right, in practice. That especially with teammates, you spend so much time with them, right? But there's it's could that be that could also be a factor as well, right?
Yeah.
But like you guys were saying, he's a professional. He's been around for so long. He's played at in Europe at a pretty high level. At some point you learn to deal with these situations. And is he here? I mean, he maybe came here saying, "Oh, this is an easy paycheck," and
It's not.
no.
It's not. Before we get into the You Got Hartman Award, we got a super chat. Give me that twinkle, sir. Bloop, 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 bloop. Adam says, this was a winnable game. Game three of the next five on the road. Man, well, you are
By the way,
correct.
we're getting into that. Remember when we looked at the schedule at the start of the season, and we looked at May, and we're like, "Oh my god,
Yeah, it's
May
going to
is
be
gonna
rough.
be a fucking nightmare." And then there's a three consecutive matches against I don't remember in order, but San Jose, San Diego, and LAFC.
Well,
Damn.
we're not ready for those. So, who do you guys have as your honorable mention for this match? I'll start with you, Eddie.
Honorable mention in this match. Should I go again with Surreal? Mm, yeah, the kid
And
is
it's across the
growing.
board.
Yep.
Yeah, he's growing in front of our eyes, man. Like I have no complaints about that kid. Like I think Spenny was the one that brought it up in one of the chats that like maybe he's getting adjusted to this new role, and because I think I complained about him like the first couple games, but he's settled in nicely, and to me he's like been the more consistent player now in the middle. Obviously, I said should I do it again, and yeah, the kid. I hope we have him for a long time because once we get like Ricky back or whatever Marco Royce ever sees the field again, now he's already settled in, and it's gonna be something nice. It's gonna be nice to get him a consistent partner that knows how to play football, or if Sanabria ever figures it out. So, yeah,
Yeah, I also like to add on because he's going to be my honorable mention that him putting into that center back role. Um,
that too.
he was great in doing that, and it's somebody that you could rely on. And like you said, he's growing in front of our eyes, and I think he's taken that next step into what he could be with his team long term. So hopefully we see more improvement. Edgar, who's your honorable mention?
Oh, Sergio as well.
Yeah,
Um, like despite the whole stuff about Zabaleta, whether or not he really is nursing an injury or not, the fact that Danny trusts him enough to put him in that center back role, it says a lot, right? Because you put the wrong person back there along Garces, who we already discussed. Has
Like
I guess he
Zanka.
has. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, you have issues, right? There's
Yeah.
issues with Garces, and if you don't have that relationship, things can go really bad. I mean, this game could have got really out of hand, right, with the
yeah,
wrong person back there. But no, he he stood on attention and handled his job, man. Good for a kid, man.
yeah. I love his gameplay, bro. I love his gameplay. And now for the most prestigious award in all of MLS,
Let's
your
hear it, Eddie. The music.
your
Oh my god.
the next standing player of the match. Edgar, let's start with you. Who's your
It
next
has to
standing
be. It
player?
has to be anonymous, man. Diego
Yeah,
Fagundes, man.
Diego Fungundes. 150 goal contributions in MLS, his 400 match, a veteran player. He captained last night, and he got us the point.
Yeah. Thank you,
Yeah,
Diego.
yeah, same. Like again, I told you guys, he was actually filling in a defensive role as well, so he was helping back there too. He got subbed out, and I'm pretty sure he was.
He was dead. Yeah, I know.
He was exhausted. Yeah.
Yeah, he was exhausted, and well, it sucks when you're
Remember,
a down player.
you also got to remember they played that game on Tuesday, so it's
Yeah.
not like these guys had a whole week to recover either. The travel and all that stuff too.
See, that's another reason for Cirillo's. He's an Iron Man. Dude played all game against Tigres, played the full match against Dynamo. Dude, what? Yeah, le
I
cuelga,
mean,
bro.
his age. I mean,
Well, I mean,
you
he should be able to do this, right?
he should be able to run through walls, right?
And then scope out this stat: the most minutes in the team is Diego Fagundes with 669 minutes. The one that follows him is Edwin Cerillo with 662. So I mean, these guys are putting in work, and the one after that is Gabriel Peck, of course, with 630 minutes. But dude, these guys, they're putting in that work, and Fagundes did his thing yesterday. So for that, he gets the next standing award.
It's
I we
weird
do
not to.
go ahead.
I was gonna say it's weird not to hear the Yoshida among those people with the highest number of minutes because last season he played almost every minute of the game. I mean, I
Yeah,
think he did, right? He played every single minute
Ham,
last year.
hamstring injury, bro.
yeah,
I
Yeah,
That was my concern, for a long time with his age. So you just said it. He played every minute last season. It was
yeah.
destined to happen, bro. Father
yeah.
Time is undefeated.
Well,
That
not
is
just
true.
that, but hamstring injuries. A lot of times, these muscle and tendon injuries occur when you're trying to do much more than what your body allows you to, and you're like, and with the way this team has been playing, I feel like everybody's trying really hard to overcompensate, and then you have people get injured, and then you have people like Royce, who's I think if you sneeze in his direction, he'll probably fall over and break a hip or something.
Well, hopefully not, because we're gonna need him moving forward.
What's he gonna do?
I don't know.
Come in
Just
there
give
and
me
like
just give me some
look
good
around?
25 minutes at the end of the match where you could close out a game and put us in good position to either win the game or hold the win. So we'll see what happens. I mean, this team
We're
is not
trading him.
good.
We're trading him for Gio Reyna.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. You heard it here first.
and
All right, we got
then
five.
you,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and then you hear like Minnesota has the discovery rights for Gio
Oh
Reyna
fuck.
or something like
Jesus
stupid like
Christ.
that.
Fuck that.
Just
All
like Miami has the rights for KDB. Get the, get the. Can you say it for me, Eddie? Can you get the f out of here? Can you say that for me?
Why? Why
I don't
can't
want to
you?
say it too
Oh,
loud.
yeah, I
There's
got
people
you. Yeah,
sleeping over here.
gotcha.
Say it, Eddie. Say it. Do it for me.
Do I have anything here? All right. Get the fuck out of here.
Thank you,
Fuck out of
man.
here with that shit.
Because these guys are loaded like to the teeth already, and now they're like talking about adding him, and I keep hearing these stupid rumors about them adding Neymar as well. I'm like, yo, get out of here, man. No way. How you gonna do so much for this team? And I know people are saying, well, you're like Galaxy got Beckham, and you guys got some. It took us a while to make the whole Beckham experiment work. It didn't happen overnight. It wasn't an instant success, right? It was an instant success for MLS financially, but as far as the team is concerned, it took a while to really make things work. And then you
Mhm.
have Inter Miami just getting like, I mean, the league is bending over for them and like in every which way possible, man. It's very blatant and obscene at this point.
Yeah, I'm on that hating Ricky Pooge. I mean, not Ricky Pooge.
I agree.
Miami.
Oh my goodness, was that a Freudian slip, bro?
Vamos
Uh,
Vancouver.
Vamos Vancouver. Nah, Miami. I'm on
Go
the I'm
Whitecaps,
on the hate
baby.
boat. I'm on that hate boat of Miami, dude. Like, man, fuck that team. Anyway, we do have another super chat before I get to the questions. We do have 5 questions, and I do want to get to them. Super chat.
Yeah. Wait, I can't hear you. Keep going?
Yeah.
Oh,
I know you might
damn.
get to this later, but can you discuss why some people were sold Austin being a top four team in the West? Thank you. They paid a club record fee for Vasquez, which hasn't turned out good. Go ahead, Eddie.
I wasn't. I don't know I don't know who you listen to, but no, you won't hear that here. I pick my pretenders every year, bro. Hey, I don't think I've missed. I haven't missed yet, right?
They are pretenders.
So they were, yeah, they're pretenders. I think they just tried. They try to sell it, spin it, because also I heard like I think like was it Twoman? I don't remember who was talking about like, oh, this is something bold and new. You're showing that American players like have value, spending 10 million on Brandon Vasquez. No, you're just showing you that you guys are stupid. That's all. You know that's cool. You can spend a couple million, right? But 10 million for Brandon Vasquez, that's Gabriel Peck pricing. So
Yeah.
I
to put in
mean,
perspective,
Brendan Vasquez is not a bad player. It's just you got to have the right. You got to have the people to feed him the ball and give him the ball, and he can't do things on his own. And
nobody's saying he's a bad player. We're talking about a 10 million price tag in MLS.
yeah, but no, you're absolutely correct. As far as like, I didn't think Austin was gonna be a top four team. Not in the West. Hell no.
Nah, the West is tough.
Um, I mean, you saw them that they got us. Like I said, they got curb stomped in Vancouver, man. And damn. By the way, man, those Whitecaps, dude.
They're good.
Um, on
Yeah.
that fan media chat, our buddies Nathan and Josh, who cover the Whitecaps, they keep every week. I see them posting like, "I can't believe we're in first place.
Nah,
I'm
they're
not
good.
used to this."
And they're after firing their coach too. That's a
Yeah.
crazy.
Yes, that coach has only lost one game so far.
The funny thing is that previous years I've told you guys, I'm like, when Austin was like up there, Minnesota I think had a run, Colorado, whatever, they got hurt last year. St. Louis when they were first. I still think like, these guys they're pretenders, right? I think San Diego are the pretenders this year, but Vancouver, dude, I think they're real.
Yeah, I think they're
I,
legit too.
I think Vancouver's real, and then they have a home field advantage, right? A real home field advantage. It might not be for the best reasons, but they have a real home field advantage too. So
Yeah.
we'll see, man. You just never know. You just never know with these guys. You also got
Yeah,
to keep them together.
I also feel they're playing with a chip on their shoulder, for several reasons, right? Because a lot of times, people overlook them as like, oh, it's just the Whitecaps, right? but also, if you're a U.S. based team and you go up there, the anthem's getting booed right off the bat, and the fans are like demanding blood, right? Like blood sacrifice at every game. So for them to beat up on Austin, damn. Um, I mean, damn, they took out Monterrey in a game where there was dodgy officiating. They took out Pumas in a game where there was also some dodgy officiating. We're complaining about refs, but they're dealing with it and they're being successful at it. It just
Yeah.
shows you, in which direction
And we
both
suck.
clubs are heading at this moment.
And they're about to take out Miami. Let's go, baby.
Almost
Let's
Vancouver.
go,
Vamos, Vancouver.
oh Canada, there you
Our
go.
overlords.
America's hat, baby.
All right, we got some questions here from TJW Piper. Why bring in Nascimento if they're not going to play him?
Oh, you know what? That's a big deal. I wanted to
Yep,
bring up too. That's very
yep.
worrisome for me. I think I'm gonna go off, dude.
Go
I'm
for
gonna
it,
go off
Eddie.
and
Go
say,
for it.
dude. I think they already know it's a bust
Oh, you
because
think so?
it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You need a striker. You want someone to challenge Christian Ramirez in that position. This guy's alone. You need to see the most out of him that you can. The fact that we're losing and he's not coming in, you need a goal, and your number 9 is not coming in. To me, that tells me a lot. So I think he's they know. I think they know. I don't think there's gonna be now enough time to see that he's whether he's not worth whether or not he's worth buying. Because again, he's alone. You want to see him as much as you can, and we're not. We're not. We're just not seeing him, dude. So
Well,
I
I could offer a counterpoint, Eddie.
go for it.
Well, there's a fact that we're not seeing the same from the other players as well. Like, what has Peck done this season as far as like an MLS play? He's like on an island. I remember we keep saying that.
Yeah.
Yesterday he had a chance to win the game. He whiffed on it, and he hasn't been as effective as we saw him last season, which is a huge disappointment, right? Even Pinto had his impact in the Champions Cup matches. He came in with like belly on fire, and but nada, and it makes me wonder with the right people in the midfield. And I know we don't have them right now, but if there are people in the midfield, Nascimento would probably be a lot better as well. But that's the cards we've been dealt, and it would just be like a case of like a missed high five, right? Where his time with the club runs out, and then you get somebody like a Ricky Puig back in there who can distribute the ball around better. And at this point, Nascimento's gone, and you get stuck with that what if, right? What could have been.
Well,
You say that, but then it's like if they're not playing great, but they're seeing time. So imagine what he looks like at practice. That's what I think when you say that. I mean, that makes me even feel like it's worse than I even think.
fuck.
Does it?
Fuck. All right. From our ped Raza 83, is Zonka this bad, or is it just a bad run of form?
Ah man, we just there's many factors, right? There's the whole thing where the relationship with him and Yoshida compared to with Garces, and um, I don't
Yeah.
know, man. I just feel like maybe uh, the league is starting to adjust to him, and they're like finding faults in his game, and uh, they're doing what they need to do, and him as well, right? He's not doing himself any favors by doing stupid things like that foul
Oh, okay.
that cost the
For
red
it.
card.
Uh, 1310 C Los. I got my I got my ring. Got in line at 4:30. No issues getting it by the team store. Logan Jones. What a nightmare for a giveaway. They don't care about the season ticket members. And then lastly, Alex Gutierrez. Coutinho. Mania predictions, baby. John Cena's gonna win. Damn. Cero Miedo wins the Intercontinental.
Dom's gonna win.
Dominic, that'd be tight.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
That'd be tight.
I I got a theory he hated.
Ooh, go for it.
Uh Sorry. If you're not a wrestling fan, I'm sorry.
I'm trying to
So
be drop everyone right now.
I know, right? Jimmy's gonna screw Jay over.
Ooh.
because he's gonna sell his soul. Because like, why does my brother get all this, the spotlight?
And then he got destroyed by Gunther and all that.
Yeah, I'm literally his twin.
Damn. Cena wins 17.
Yeah, Cena's gonna win 17. Dude, it would piss me off if he doesn't win. Not just because I'm a fan of Cena, but it's like you waited 20 years to make him a heel for what?
Yeah, you got to give it to him,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. When somebody goes heel, you want to see instant returns, right?
And don't give me the shocker shit either. Like, oh yeah, he didn't win. Even like fucking Cody defied all the odds. It's like, no, 20 fucking years. You should have just not done it then.
Yep.
You see, I'm all getting mad and shit. But it's true, right? Like all that. Then why'd you do it?
Yeah.
Just should have just not done it then. You shouldn't have made him heel. You literally wasted that.
I'd like to see him win number 17, to be honest. That'd be pretty cool.
That's a good name. It's a good name to put on it too. You know, the guy. He's the angel of death outside because he's all the sickness and shit. You know?
Hell yeah. Io Sky retains. I think Io Sky retains. And of course, Tiffany, she retains.
Stratton.
Yeah, dude, that heated argument between her and Charlotte was fucking amazing. I love that shit.
That beef was boring until
that. Yep. And then of course CM Punk, my favorite.
Best in the world.
I hate that guy. Rollins and the Tribal Chief. Who wins that one? That's gonna be a good one.
Rollins wins. Rollins is an afterthought in this.
Roman takes it.
I kind of want CM Punk to win, to be honest. Especially if Cena's gonna win number 17, then you get CM Punk to take it off of him somehow.
SummerSlam, right?
Nah, fuck CM Punk.
No, yeah, for real. But
you guys,
Rollins
in the world.
Rollins hasn't won a big match in a long time, and then he's owed that favor. So there's your other story too.
Oh yeah,
he's gonna do him the favor. That's gonna be your shocker moment where Paul Heyman helps Seth.
Little Apple says Heyman's gonna screw over Reigns.
Yeah,
and then Punk.
Yeah, because like it's like they all have an advantage except Seth, and he's an afterthought in the story.
We'll see. It's gonna be a fun Mania. Anyway, we did it, guys. We talked about the stupid ass game. We got 1 point at home. I mean, a point is better than no points. I got my ring. Not playing. Throw it up on everybody's face.
Up, dude. Why you gotta rub it in people's faces?
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
I will.
Hey, how did it go with the 2014 ring? Because I remember there was no issues with that.
I was able to get it easily.
The turnout was different. That's why I said it was, perspective. Like that perspective was kind of cool to see because it was never like this.
Yeah, which is cool. It is cool to see. Edgar, where can the people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Instagram as Edgar Nags. The Instagram stuff is different than what you see on Twitter and Blue Sky. So check it out. I got interviews. I chat with people, not just Galaxy, but from people all over the place.
A ring is better than no ring. True that. Eddie, where can the people find you?
Find me in the desert with my ring next weekend.
You can find me as Brian Nags on Instagram and Twitter. Chiyaso, where can the people find you?
You guys can find me as Travis J.A. Travis Ha on all my social media. It's pretty easy, pretty simple to find.
Hey. Yay! We got one more super chat before we leave. Chewy, pick me up, baby. Galaxy all-time record versus Austin is 5-2-1. 2 losses in Austin, 1 draw, 1 win.
About to be 2 losses in Austin.
He sends another super chat saying, "Is there a midweek show?"
Twinkle first.
Twinkle me up.
Hold on.
Twinkle you up. Oh.
Edgar, is there a midweek show?
I'm actually working on that. We're trying to get some awesome podcasts to jump in with us. Quite possibly on Wednesday. If you haven't heard anything by Wednesday, then I'll let you know.
Yeah, we'll give you guys updated. Stay tuned to our social medias. Music Across the Galaxy on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and of course YouTube. And if you're listening to this later on, we encourage you to come to the live chat and talk your ish. And of course, don't forget to hit this video with the like. Don't forget to hit the like on your audio, sound, whatever it is to do to get the Neck Boys out there.
Oh
Do
my
that.
god! I see Patrick's comment says Galaxy and Austin 0-0 drop. Please God, no.
It's a 10:45 a.m. game. 0-0 sounds about right.
Oh god, I forgot that too. Oh man.
Well, that does it from us here at News Across the Galaxy. From Edgar, Eddie, Chiasso, and myself, we're gonna get up out of here. And as always, keep on nagging.
Por noche,
Wu-Tang.
por día,
For
arriba la
life.
putería. Por...
Cero miedo.
Keep on nagging.
Dominic.